I always knew Diana didn't like me from the moment Daniel brought me home to meet his family. A Sunday dinner in his mother's cramped but warm kitchen in Accra, plates of jollof rice steaming on the table. His older sister Diana sat across from me with a smile that never quite reached her eyes. Still, I told myself it was nerves, that she needed time, that once she saw how deeply her brother and I loved each other, she would come around. I was wrong. Daniel and I married on a cool November morning, 2 years after we met at a mutual friend's graduation party. He made me laugh every single day. He remembered the small things, the way I take my tea, the name of my childhood dog, the fact that I hated surprises but loved the feeling of being known. I thought I had found everything. I had not counted on Diana deciding, quietly and deliberately, to take it apart. She was patient. She did not attack. She planted seeds, small, poisonous ones, and waited for them to bloom. It started with comments, offhand things, the kind that dissolve if you try to hold them up to the light. "Natalie seems distracted lately, Daniel. Is everything okay at home?" Or at a family gathering, "She looked bored when you were telling that story. Did you notice?" I found out later from Daniel's cousin Abena that Diana had been whispering for months. She told his mother I was careless with money. She told his aunties I was cold. She told Daniel himself, and this one took my breath away when I learned it, that she had seen me at a restaurant with another man. That was the lie that almost broke us. Daniel came home one Thursday evening different, quiet in the way that means a person is full of things they haven't decided whether to say. He poured a glass of water and stood at the kitchen window for a long time. When I asked him what was wrong, he said, "Diana told me she saw you, downtown, last Friday, with someone." I remember the exact texture of that moment, the hum of the refrigerator, the ache behind my sternum. Last Friday, I had been at my office until 7 p.m., then at the pharmacy picking up medication for my mother. I had receipts, I had a time-stamped work badge swipe. But something Diana said had been enough to plant doubt in my husband's eyes, and I had never felt so lonely standing in my own kitchen. We argued, not loudly, we were never loud people, but carefully and terribly, the way people argue when they are afraid they might be losing something. Daniel said he believed me. He also said he was confused. I said that was the same thing as not believing me. We went to bed without resolving it, two people lying very still on opposite sides of a mattress that suddenly felt enormous. What Diana did not know was that 3 weeks before that conversation, I had started recording her. I am not proud of how it started. It was instinct, born from a creeping unease I could not name. We had been at Daniel's mother's house, and I stepped into the hallway to take a phone call. The door to the sitting room was ajar, and I heard Diana's voice, low, deliberate, practiced. She was telling her mother that I had seemed off at the last gathering, that Daniel deserved someone who understood their culture better, that she was only worried about him. I stood there in the hallway, phone still in my hand, and pressed record. After that, I was careful. I recorded her at the next family dinner when she pulled Daniel aside near the staircase. I recorded her during a phone call she made, not realizing I was in the adjacent room of a relative's house, where she told someone, "I just need him to start doubting her. Once the trust is cracked, the rest takes care of itself." I had 4 recordings by the time Daniel came to me with Diana's restaurant lie. 4 recordings. I had listened to them so many times I could recite them. Each one was a small, cold window into a campaign I hadn't fully believed was real until I heard it in her own. The night after Daniel told me what Diana had said, I asked him to sit with me. I put my phone on the coffee table between us. I said, "Before you decide what you believe, I need you to listen to something. I just need him to start doubting her. Once the trust is cracked, the rest takes care of itself." Diana's voice filled our living room. Her exact cadence, her pauses, her certainty. Daniel went very still. I played the second recording, then the third. By the fourth, he had his head in his hands. We sat in silence for a long time after the last one ended. He cried. Daniel is not a man who cries easily. I had only seen it once before, at his father's funeral, and watching him absorb the reality of what his sister had done was one of the hardest things I have ever witnessed. This was not just about me. This was about his family, the version of it he had believed in, cracking open in real time. "I'm sorry," he said. He said it many times. I told him I did not need him to be sorry. I needed him to know the truth. He asked me why I hadn't come to him sooner. I told him the truth. Because I wasn't sure he would believe me over her. Because the words of a sister carry a different weight than the words of a wife, and Diana had spent years building her credibility with him while quietly spending mine. He confronted Diana the following week. I was not in the room. He told me later that she cried, then denied it, then, when he played the recordings, went silent in a way he said felt worse than any shouting would have. She did not apologize. She said she had been worried. She said she had been looking out for him. He told her that he loved her and that she was no longer welcome in our home. He chose me. Fully, finally, without the shadow of her doubt between us. That mattered more than I expected it to. It has been 14 months since that night on the couch. Diana and Daniel have spoken twice, brief, formal exchanges at a family funeral and a cousin's wedding. His mother knows something happened, but has not been told the full story. Daniel has chosen to protect her from it, and I have respected that decision. There are still ruptures in the family fabric, ragged edges that may never fully heal. But Daniel and I are okay, better than okay. There is something that happens to a marriage when it survives a real test. Not the ordinary friction of two people learning to share a life, but a genuine attempt to destroy it from outside. You see each other differently afterward. You understand what you are to each other in a way that comfort alone cannot teach you. I still think about why Diana did it. I have turned it over many times, the way you work at a knot. Jealousy, maybe? Fear of losing her brother's attention? Some old grief that had nothing to do with me, shaped into something it could act on. I don't know. I have stopped needing to know. What I know is this. I trusted my own instincts. I gathered my evidence quietly, without drama. And when the moment came, I let the truth speak, in her own voice, in her own words, and let my husband decide who to believe. He chose well. So did I when I chose him.